I used to think silence was just the absence of noise. But the kind I grew up in, the kind that sits across a table behind polite smiles and expensive china, was a weapon. At the Westbridge Country Club, silence meant disapproval. It meant you'd done something to embarrass the family again. I learned that early. I was the second daughter, the one who never fit their mold. My sister Victoria was the family's crown jewel. Polished, perfect, Ivy League degree, charity board memberships, and a husband who made partner before he turned 35. When she walked into a room, my parents beamed like she carried their last name on her shoulders. When I walked in, they looked like they were waiting for me to apologize for existing. That Sunday, I made the mistake of showing up to brunch. I'd been invited, texted actually. My mother said, "We'll be at the terrace. Don't be late." No mention of a dress code. No hint that this was another test. I drove an hour wearing jeans, a blazer, and flats. Comfortable. Confident. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. When I arrived, my father looked up from his newspaper. His expression soured instantly. "Absolutely not," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You are not sitting with us dressed like that." I froze mid-step. My mother put down her drink and gave me that look, half pity, half disgust. "Clara," she said, "what on earth are you wearing?" "Clothes," I said quietly. "You invited me to brunch." "I invited you," she snapped, "assuming you'd show some sense of decorum. This isn't a shopping mall." Then came Victoria, floating out from the ladies' room in a cream dress that probably cost my old rent. She stopped short when she saw me. "Oh my God," she said. "Are you serious right now?" "About what?" "About that." She waved at me like I was an eyesore. "This is a private club, Clara. There's a standard." My father stood. Even now, I can hear his chair scraping the floor. "This is humiliating. My daughter shows up here looking like that." He turned to the nearest table where the Vandermeers' family friends were trying not to stare. "Do you see what I have to deal with?" I wanted to sink through the marble. But I stood there, hands trembling at my sides. "You called me," I said. "You wanted me here. I assumed you had the common sense to dress properly," my mother said. Clearly, I was wrong again. Victoria leaned in, lowering her voice but not enough. "Clara, please. Everyone's staring. Just go home, change, and maybe we can fix this. I drove an hour to get here." "Then you should have thought about that before leaving the house looking like a charity case." That word hit like a slap. Charity case. My father turned to the club manager's desk. "I'll have her removed," he barked. "She's not sitting at my table dressed like that." I laughed, but it came out hollow. "You're joking, right?" He wasn't. He was already storming toward the concierge. By the time I followed him inside, the room had gone quiet. He was standing there, voice booming. "My daughter is in violation of the dress code. I want her escorted out of the property." The young woman at the desk looked horrified. "Sir, if she's your guest." "She's not my guest anymore. Remove her." Before I could speak, a familiar voice answered from behind the counter. "Mr. Hayes," said Patricia, the general manager. "What seems to be the issue?" "This," he said, pointing at me. "Jeans. Cheap clothes. Completely unacceptable." Patricia looked at me calmly. "You want your daughter removed?" "Yes. I'm on the board, Patricia. We have standards." She nodded. "Understood. One moment, please." She called for security. 2 men in suits appeared, discreet but firm. And then she asked, "Would you like me to notify the owner?" My father puffed his chest. "If that's what it takes." Patricia disappeared, and when she came back, she wasn't alone. Behind her was Catherine Briggs, the director of operations, and another face, one that made my father smirk, faltered at it, was my assistant, Noah, carrying a leather portfolio. "Mr. Hayes," Catherine said smoothly, "I understand you've requested the owner's intervention." "Yes," my father said. "My daughter." Catherine cut him off. "Actually, she's already here." Then she turned to me. "Miss Hayes, would you like to handle this yourself?" For a moment no one spoke. Then Patricia said clearly, "Mr. Hayes, allow me to introduce the owner of the Westbridge Country Club, your daughter, Miss Clara Hayes." Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. My father blinked. "What?" "You heard her," I said. I own this place. Catherine nodded. Miss Hayes purchased the club 8 months ago through her company, Hayes Hospitality Group. She holds full ownership and operational control. My mother gasped. My sister's phone slipped from her hand. That's impossible, my father stammered. Noah stepped forward, opening the portfolio. Documents, signatures, acquisition details. The purchase was finalized February 15th. Total investment, $22 million. They just stared at me. How? My mother finally whispered. You worked retail. 7 years ago, I said. Then I started consulting for failing hotels. Turned them around. Bought a few. Built a company. Patricia added softly. Miss Hayes owns 15 properties across 3 states. Westbridge is the latest. Victoria's lips trembled. 15? You own 15 properties. 16 actually, Noah corrected. She closed on another yesterday. My father sank into a chair. His face drained of color. Why didn't you tell us? When would I have? I asked. When you told me I was an embarrassment. When you laughed about my career choices. When you told people I was still trying to find myself? That's not fair, my mother murmured. No, I said. It's honest. I turned to Catherine. Can you pull up the Hayes family membership record? She tapped her tablet. Richard and Margaret Hayes, primary members. Victoria Preston, associate member. And the policy for termination? Immediate termination for conduct unbecoming, harassment of staff, or actions damaging to the club's reputation. Ownership has sole discretion. I looked at my parents. You demanded security remove me from my own property. You called me an embarrassment. That seems unbecoming, doesn't it? My father's voice broke. Clara, please. Don't do this. I've served on that board for 12 years. I know, I said softly. And now you're suspended pending review. All of you are. Victoria started to cry. My mother clasped her pearls eyes wide. Clara, this isn't you. No, I said. This is the part of me you never wanted to see. I nodded to Patricia. Escort them out, please. Suspended members can't remain on property. The crowd that had gathered whispered as they were let out. My perfect family, shrinking under the weight of their own hypocrisy. When the doors closed, Patricia turned to me. That was bold. Necessary, I said. My hands were shaking, but I didn't let it show. She smiled faintly. You've given them something to talk about for the next decade. I didn't stay for brunch. I went to my car and sat there, heart pounding, staring at the club through the windshield. My phone buzzed. Messages poured in. Clara, please. We can talk about this. Your father is devastated. You can't treat family this way. I turned the phone face down. Noah appeared by the window. You okay? I laughed weakly. Not sure. That was brutal. Deserved, he said. But brutal. Set a meeting with legal tomorrow, I said. I want to make sure everything was by the book. He nodded. Already done. I looked back at the building, my building. For years I'd been the disappointment. The invisible one. The joke. And now I owned the place where they once decided I didn't belong. For the first time I finally understood something. Power isn't about revenge. It's about no longer needing their approval. And that silence, the kind that used to hurt, was finally mine to keep.